How each of us perceives and handles the challenge ahead is unique. All right? I would like us to take a moment to think about how we are each unique. And the methodology we're going to talk about that through, or the structure, is something called true colors. It's one of the many ways that you can consider personalities. There's things like Myers-Briggs and various skills assessments and values assessments. This is just one of those. And if you're interested in learning more about it, they have a website that tells you quite a bit, and a book, and you could go on and on. We're just going to take a little glimpse at it for a couple of reasons. But here is the paradigm, all right? And this is something that when I was first introduced to this, actually my department head, who actually just retired just recently, this past year, but him and his wife both had been engaged in understanding people in this way. And honestly, when he first brought this to my attention, I realized that I really did think everyone was like me. I really did. Deep down inside, I expected people to behave the way I would behave, and I expected them to communicate the way I communicated, and I expected them to respond to a situation the same way as I would respond. Now, since I clearly don't think that's true, you can imagine that some of the interactions I've had with people over time, I had a mistaken impression of maybe what was happening because of this paradigm, if I always assume people are going to be like me. So I'm going to introduce 4 different colors that are really just characteristics. And just to be clear, none of us are one of these. All of us have all of these personality types in varying degrees. They come out at different times. But I think as you look, you'll start to resonate to a certain set of characteristics that you either realize right away, yeah, that sounds a lot like me, or that's what I value. Okay, so that's the idea here. So the first one is orange. And with people who we will call orange, their strength is skillfulness. Those who we'll call gold, their strength is duty. People who are blue, their strength is authenticity. And people who are green, their strength is knowledge. All right, so let's get a little bit more in depth and start thinking about yourself and how you think you might fit into these. See if you can recognize yourself. All right, so orange, let's give you a little more than just skillfulness. So those who we would consider orange tend to be people who are intuitive, who are troubleshooters, who are resourceful, competitive, charge ahead kind of attitudes, and ingenious. All right? So some of you out here, when you see that list, will think, yeah, that sounds like me. All right, who are green then? So green tend to be people who are strategic, who are proficient, who are tenacious, who are objective, analytical, innovative, and independent. So some of you might look at that list and think, yeah, maybe that sounds like me too. All right? Everyone loves the blues. So the blues are relationship-centered, harmonious, optimistic, nurturing, romantic, and authentic. And that's kind of a little bit of me, and I'll explain that later. So those are the blues, people, right? Social people. All right, then last one is gold. And golds tend to be planners. They tend to be sensible, punctual, organized, people who really need structure, and who are responsible. Let's go back and see that. So those were the 4 colors just kind of quickly. Is anyone starting to resonate a little bit with one? See one that they think sounds like them a bit? I'm going to give you another opportunity to think about it. The other way to think about it is what stresses you out. Okay, and I have the occasion to meet people stressed out once in a while, right? So it's helpful when I can think about them in terms of these colors because I can recognize certain kinds of stresses and maybe why someone's feeling them. So here's an example. People who are blue might find it stressful when the system is a priority before the people in the system. They might find conflict stressful, negative criticism stressful, as well as being compared to others and not evaluated as an individual. So people who are blue might find those things to really cause them anxiety. People who are gold might find ambiguous demands or disorganization, irresponsibility of others, or changing details to be stressful for them. Ambiguous demands. Does that sound like a homework assignment you just got? All right. Green folks tend to be stressed over a lack of independence, incompetence, lack of options, inability to use or display their knowledge, subjective judgment. Okay? And then the last group, the oranges, would be stressed over rules, responsibility, redundancy, deadlines, being stuck in a lecture-only class, structure and emphasis on process over results. Can you see how very different those people might be? And again, I find I do this with my grad students too in a smaller environment, and it tends to be that 2 of the colors are a bit stronger and 2 of them are a bit weaker. I only know a couple people who literally, like, they have a bit of everything in them. That's less common. And some people, 1 is really dominant and all the other ones are really not so bright at all, okay? So take a look at this for a sec and give me like a nod or some indication if you recognize something about yourself up there. Yeah? Some people are recognizing some things? Okay, because what I'm going to ask you is I want you to see which color is the brightest for you, meaning which one of those colors do you think really represents you the best? Even if there's more than one. If there's one that's a little more like you, I want you to consider that one. So here's our chance. Let's get out a clicker. Give me a chance to figure out who's in the classroom. If you haven't used these clickers before, they're pretty simple, but you do have to turn them on. There's an on button. And folks in Bend, I'm just going to ask you to put up your hand and tell me and wave at me and tell me who you are, okay, and which color you are. Okay. Okay, so once you have your clicker in Eugene and you've pressed the on button at the bottom, then go ahead and make a selection. And I see like there's already 96, 110 people who've done it. Nice job. Keep going. And what I'm going to do each time is I'm always going to ask the folks in Bend what they think about anything, and then we're going to go and display the results from the classroom. Okay? All right. Looks like we clocked out at 151 people. All right. If you haven't got a clicker yet, as you can see, we really will use them, so please bring them by the next day. You can buy them in the bookstore. All right, so let's quiet down for just a second. Let's hear in Bend. So in Bend, do you guys want to wave at me if you think gold is your brightest color? There's a wave. How about green? Yep, there's a few. How about blue? Yep, there's the blue waving. And how about orange? Yeah, there's the 2 oranges sitting together. Are you sitting closest to the door so you can run to the ski hill as fast as possible? Is that? That's what I do. I know. Oranges, they're fun people to be with, actually. All right, so let's take a look. And let's see what we've got here. All right, so we have a good mix of everything here. So we have a little more gold. Are we laughing? There's an E on there? I know. There's nobody who's nothing. That's good. Good. Yeah. One person is none of the above. That's right. It can be difficult. The buttons are, so small, right? Okay. And just so you know, for those of you who haven't used clickers before, you can press as many times as you want. It's the last one that you press before I stop it that'll be recorded. So maybe accidentally someone hit E. In any case, it looks like we have a little bit more A, which is gold, a little more in the gold and blue side of things, and slightly less in the, what do we got here? Green is B, so green and orange are just a little bit less. But as you can see, those are pretty unique and different characteristics, and we've got everyone here, right? For sure. Everyone is here. And so one of the challenges for me as a teacher is that I am not all of these colors, but you are, and I interact with all of you, and ideally, I help all of you learn equally, or I provide environments where you can all learn equally. And I recognize that to be a challenge, but one that I'm up for, but I think it's best if we can communicate in a way where, let's say that you found the homework assignment to be a little ambiguous, because some people who are gold probably did, and I get that now after doing this for a while. You can come in and say, so I'm gold, I need more. Let's sit down, and can you help me maybe structure something, or can you verify, or can you whatever? No problem. Or someone else might say to me, you know what, I'm orange, so can I just do this, like way out in left field? And I'll be like, yeah, go for it, no problem. So it's a nice neutral language that we can speak, where you're not saying, like, you tick me off because you didn't put any structure in this. You can just say, I'm gold, so this hasn't quite met my needs yet. Let's work together to find a way that we can communicate. Does that make sense? I like it. I like neutral. And why do I like neutral? Because now you can find out who I am. Okay, hang on a sec. Let's talk about something first, and then I'll tell you who I am. All right. So here's I guess there's a question to you. I just told you why I think it's helpful for me as a teacher, but I want you to find out what can you benefit, how can you benefit from knowing a little bit about yourself this way and knowing maybe a little bit about how people are different from you? How can it help you as a learner versus me as a teacher? So take a second, talk to the person next to you, and see if you can find some reason that this is valuable.